Hello. Do you suffer from cluster headaches? They're also known as suicidal headaches. I am here to tell you I do. I first experienced them, I believe it was 2011, somewhere around there. I had my first attack. It lasted about a week, 10 days, something like that. The first one was actually about normal length. And basically what happens is you get an attack sometimes once or twice a day. I will talk about the symptoms, diagnoses, etc. in a second, but basically what happened to me in 2011 was for about 11 consecutive days, morning only at that time, I would get these massive headaches. I did not realize it at the time. I was not aware of it, but they actually were only about 20 minutes to half an hour in length. But they echoed. I mean, the feeling was so strong, they echoed for about 3 hours and they left me completely exhausted. And with everything that was going on at the time, everything else, this was yet one more thing. In any case, the feeling for me, and basically the way doctors can, and it's usually diagnosed by a neurologist, a headache specialist. And there are headache specialists that specializes in cluster headaches, and there are quite a few well-renowned ones. But basically is a stubborn, but I will call, and I will only tell you my own experience because this is what I best know. It is like a spear that jabs right into my left eye in my case, and it can move eyes, but usually stays, basically on one, especially through an attack. And it's a spear that goes through the eye, burning that eye, going right through. It can actually penetrate all through the back. Sometimes I feel like, that part of my head is on fire. And the other two significant symptoms are that my eye tears and my nose runs. They were actually like the telltale signs that I was having a cluster headache. I did not know at the time, but those were telltale signs. And I would crawl into a ball, literally wanting to tear my head apart. Now, please understand that at the time I was having pseudotumor headaches, and then this was yet another headache, and I did not understand that, I was having yet this other headache that I could not explain. And I'm very good at having or being able to catalog or label my headaches. This is a high pseudotumor headache. This is a low pseudotumor headache after, a lumbar puncture. I must be having a fever. This is a fever headache. I'm very good. And my neurologist is quite impressed that I can tell which kind of headache or what it comes from. Once I got diagnosed, and the only way really to diagnose a cluster headache is by the symptoms. And when I went to see a specialized neurologist, he said, you have cluster headaches, there was the whole rigmarole of, let's wait and see, and blah, blah, blah. In any case, there are 3 forms of treatment that I am aware of. There are, of course, many medications, but the ones that I use, first one, oxygen, and it is actually quite effective. So you put on an oxygen mask. Really, the oxygen that goes in through your nose is not that effective, not at all. You actually wear a mask. You sit upright. You can put your head down a bit, but you put on a mask, an oxygen mask. And I'm sorry I keep saying it, but it's quite important. Then for 10 minutes, 10 liters of oxygen. You should not do it for longer than that, according to what I've heard, or what I understand from what I've been told. Again, please realize I am not an MD. From what I understand, it is not healthy for your body to undergo pure oxygen for long periods of time. In my experience, it actually takes until about minute 8 to feel relief, to start feeling that relief. So, you start sort of getting impatient. Why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Also, I have been told during the time that you are with the mask, don't read, don't listen to music, don't, even though you may want to get distracted, it is best to concentrate on breathing in and breathing out. Your doctor may tell you otherwise, I don't know. The other two things that I use, let's call it that, are basically the same medication. I use sumatriptan, also called Imitrex, but in two forms. One is the oral form, and I use 100 milligrams, and one is the injector form. You can do it on your arm, you can do it on your thigh, and that I use 4 milligrams. That is for basically extreme cases, and the reason why I say that is I do not, Imitrex and I do not get along. I get symptoms, my body gets very hot flushed, and well, anyway, there are all kinds of symptoms I get. If you want, I can discuss that with you, and we can talk about it in the comments. But it is not a medication I particularly like. So what has happened since 2011? I have had several attacks of lengthy times, meaning of a week or more. They're awful. You literally want to pull your hair out. You will know if it's a cluster headache attack. Meaning that it's the worst pain you have ever experienced, in my opinion. Then it's up there with the worst. Like I said, it's actually short-lived, except you feel so awful. It feels like it takes much longer. It takes a lot out of you. I moved on from that attack into other attacks where actually it was AM and PM, so I would have 2 attacks a day. Once I began being treated, what ended up happening was that I would get 3 days a month, basically during my menstrual cycle. And it just became sort of consistent, and they weren't as sort of blown out attacks. Well, the reason why I'm doing this YouTube is because I just had a really bad attack. And I'm talking to my neurologist, and we're discussing what to do. But I have an oxygen tank at home. I have medication at home, but it's still very hard to deal with, because now I am dealing with pseudotumor headaches, occipital neuralgia, pain, which is very hard to put the oxygen mask. What do I do? Hold it, put it on. It's like bleh. And now I'm dealing with these attacks. So if you see me completely, a mess, that's why. Today I didn't have as bad of an attack, but it's not pleasant. So this is what I wanted to bring forth. I would love to know about your experience. I would love to know if you have gone through it, and if anything has worked for you. I would understand. I do understand the other medications. By the way, some of you may not know, Imitrex or sumatriptan also really works for, or at least this is what I found out, works for altitude sickness, which I was having terrible headaches. Took sumatriptan and the altitude sickness. I passed out, and it took care of it. I don't know, maybe I'm just a unique case, but I understand actually this is I'm not so unique actually. But just thought I'd drop that in. Please do research on it before you try it. And I'm talking really, really high altitude. I'm talking, 10,000 feet. Not, I'm not talking about, because I suffer a lot of issues. I go over any hill and my ears close up, and, I get, sort of tumor headaches, and, you can imagine when I fly. So, thank you very much for listening, and thank you for being there. Have a wonderful day and good luck to you. Bye-bye.